I have to say I'm so grateful that I got to be on your show, which is so crazy that it was during COVID.
It was mid-pandemic.
Yeah, so crazy thinking of like the time warp of
I know
what COVID was.
I know.
Something that I have recently spoken about was just how much touring has changed since COVID. I feel
So
like
much.
a lot of the venues that I was playing, had to shut down or take a pause. But you recently spoke out about Meghan Trainor's decision to end her tour, which, by the way, I thought was so great for you to talk about. And I also was very impressed with Meghan Trainor too for making that decision.
Yes.
What do you wish more people knew about being a touring artist? I feel like you have so much experience with that. And in this current climate, what do you wish more people knew?
Well, one, I feel like it shouldn't be like this embarrassing thing if an artist makes a choice not to tour.
Yes.
Like everybody makes business decisions all the time. Like this deal isn't working for us. We're going to it's not like Meghan Trainor's fans were lined up outside the venue and she canceled. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like this was well in advance and for who knows what reason. Maybe it was financial. Maybe it was for her family.
Right.
But she's making a choice. And I wish it wasn't such a like embarrassing thing because there are a million factors that go into it. And like you said, it's changed drastically since the pandemic or since, 2017 when Live Nation and Ticketmasters formed their illegal monopoly, which changed the game for touring artists and fans, making ticket prices spike. The economy makes it harder for people to buy tickets. Gas prices alone make it harder for us to tour. It's like every aspect affects the bottom line. And it's easy to be in a venue and see like thousands of people and be like, that girl's making bank up there. But it's like, you have no idea. Like every light is paid for by the artist. Every person you're seeing running around comes out of our pocket.
Yes.
And we don't get a cut of the parking, of the concessions.
Yes.
But yet Live Nation gets a cut of our merch, our ticket sales. Like we give out the back end every way possible. And, so I know it's expensive for people to go to concerts, but it's also like, it's very expensive to put on a show that you're proud of.
Yes.
And I think that's the saddest part is you find yourself making decisions to like whittle down your show sometimes.
I know.
And your art and your these wonderful like visions you have of the creativity, and it has to get whittled down at the end of the day to make sense for you, make sense for your fans.
Yes.
So anyways, there's so many factors that go into it. And so it makes me really sad, cancel culture in general, when people like gang up on somebody. Because I think as artists, we've all been ganged up on before.
Of course.
And it's terrifying when that happens to you. And so whenever I see people ganging up on, also the internet loves to gang up on Meghan Trainor.
They do.
Which, why? I don't know. She's great. I've met her a couple times. She's lovely.
Yeah.
So leave her alone, first of all.
Yes.
But also, anyways, everybody calm down. We have no idea what anyone's going through at any time, and give people a little bit of grace.
Yes. People are canceling their tours all the time, and they're wording it differently. And I'm sure you see this too.
Yeah.
Where like people do these posts and you're like, I know that is because like this was because the climate has changed, because it's completely changed. And so I do think that that's something that I don't know what to think of it at this point. I really don't. And I think, but I will say like one of the really telltale signs for me was I saw this post that James Blake did. And he said, I'm having trouble selling tickets. My core fans, core people that follow me are not seeing that I'm selling tickets.
Ooh.
And I was like, James Blake, like, I can't tell you. It just, everyone has like their person, that you just like view in a particular light.
Yes.
But I mean, this is like Grammy Award winning James Blake. I don't think he's like ever struggled to sell a ticket, like, in the past maybe 10 years. But he was talking about how like these companies are monopolizing and
not promoting. They used to promote shows massively. Like the venues, they were a team with you to promote the show. They don't put marketing dollars into it anymore.
Right.
You have to build the relationship with the local radio, and you have to do all the press yourself. And it's the same way like music industry now. It's not about building artists. It's about finding the hot thing and letting them. So it's like the industry has changed so much where it really isn't a team effort anymore. It's up for James Blake. And so you're like, well, the venue, the local venue isn't reaching out to their local people. And I hate it when you just pass through like Paris, France, and people are like, when are you coming to Paris? And you're like, I was literally there like 2 weeks ago.
I know.
You know, and you're
so
just
sad.
And it's so hard to make it around the world. And so when you're like, I'm not getting any help here.
Yes.
I'm trying to, but algorithms are crazy. And
yes. I mean, across all of your platforms, you have crazy numbers, but on TikTok, you have 5.2 million followers.
I worked really hard for all of them. I love you all.
I'm very impressed with you. And one of the things that I love about your shows is that you involve the audience in TikTok trends, which is so good. And also such a great way to promote that you're doing shows and that you are on tour. And I wanted to ask you, how do you stay excited about social media? And do you have any advice for instrumentalists on the app?
I think staying excited about social media is so difficult and hard and important. You know, like when you've been doing it as long as we have, like I started the YouTube game in 2010. It's been a part of my brain now for like 15 plus years. And that's a long time to be doing that. And so, how do you stay excited about it? And everyone's like, oh, social media, it's soul sucking and it steals your soul. But it's like, it's not all about the trend and what everybody else is doing. It's like, how does Sarah show up in a way that feels like you? And I remember when I first started doing these like audience videos that I've become kind of known for, where you do get the crowd excited. So it felt really weird at first asking my crowd to be like,
oh my God, I'd be so nervous.
Can I break the fourth wall for a second here? Like as a performer, there's this wall. You're on the stage. They're down there. The lights are on you. You're a spectacle. You're sparkling. They're not. Like every element is made to feel like you are separate from them.
Right.
And it's what creates this illusion that they bought a ticket for. But to break that wall and be like, can I actually come into the audience and like interact with you? And I remember also all the comments when I first started doing it on the videos, especially the ones that went big, are like, I would be so mad if I went to a show and the artist, you know, was doing this the whole time. And it's like, well, it's 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Guys, I performed for almost 2 hours.
Right.
5 minutes. But also getting over the, wow, this is so cringe comments of being like, you know what? I know my fans are loving these moments. I'm loving these moments. It's actually turned into like, well, this is a little bit scary to like, I look forward to this moment in the show because I get to like actually look in their eyes and interact with them and be like, would you do this with me? And it creates a moment. And getting over the comments of like, this is so cringe. This girl is so thirsty for like attention. You know, forget it. Who cares?
It's always the videos that are doing the best that unfortunately like do come with those.
Yes.
Because it's reaching so many different people. Yes. You are also getting the haters. So it's like such a weird, like good sign.
It's a good sign.
Yes.
Because you're like, oh, I've reached way outside of my, you know, you're not preaching to the choir anymore. And that's like a great thing. But getting over it, like I hate try hard culture when people are like, oh, she's so thirsty. She's trying so hard. It's like, yeah, I am. I've been trying hard. Like that's why I'm where I'm at. I've been trying hard for, 15 plus years now. And that's a good thing. Yeah. And like, I am being vulnerable and putting myself out there. And so getting over those comments and just being like, you know what, I do try hard and I try hard for my fans and I create moments that they're going to love. And if I've reached outside my algorithm at this point and you're hating on me, like it still hurts, but that's a good sign.
Yes. And I also think you touched on something that's so important is like finding what makes you feel excited, what makes you feel passionate, what feels natural to you. Yeah. Because then you will be posting more consistently. If you're just jumping on one trend, like it might be a great boost and it's a great boost. But in terms of consistent posting, which as you know, like I feel like that's the key is like,
it really is.
You're not allowed to take a break. You're not allowed.
Do you see the bags under our eyes? They're there for the reason.
Exactly. You're not allowed to take a break. But yeah, a big key is like consistent posting. You would be really good at doing, would you ever do like a little course on social media?
It'd be really fun.
You should do that. I feel like that's
I genuinely think you can find fun in it. You know?
Me too. I'm so passionate about it. And like, I think one of the biggest hurdles, is when people have the mindset of it's the devil, it's soul sucking, and it's the worst. Because then
it's not art. It's not art. It's like, well, then how can we make it feel like your art? How can we make it feel like you? You have to be so careful too, because if you are just jumping on trends, you attract what you put out, and you're going to find people that expect you to keep doing that and that follow you for that. Where it's like, well, wait, you have to be the kind of honey that's attracting the bees that you want, that are going to like your kind of honey. It's just so important. I remember my first viral thing. I remember being a little bit like, oh no, way back in the day, it was a Zelda medley, which was great. But I realized everyone thought I was a gamer. And I was like, but I'm not a gamer. And so I had to then be very careful about like, oh wow, I've put out, you know, and I have this amazing relationship with my gamer fans that have followed me for years. But if I had only kept being like, well, that's what's working, so I'm going to just keep doing the gamer content, I would have like really put myself in a vertical that was not me.
Right.
And this would not be the career I love.
Right.
You just have to be really careful with what you put out. And if you do have your viral moment, you better hope it's something that you love and that you're proud of.
Yes. And that feels authentic to you.
Yeah.
I watched the footage and it's just so ridiculous and infuriating. But I watched the America's Got Talent.
Yes.
Okay.
We have to go there.
Okay, we have to go
do,
there.
yeah.
Okay. I've lived with the saying, rejection is protection.
Yes.
When you think back at your time on America's Got Talent, what do you feel you were being protected from?
So many things. You know, that
the contract.
I mean, above them all,
I
it
mean,
was the contract. I am so grateful in hindsight for that experience. Because it was absolutely, humiliating is not even a term that can match the way I felt when I walked off that stage at the, I think it was the quarterfinals, after being X'd and being told these really harsh things. Like I sounded like rats being strangled when I played, like stuff like that. You don't have what it takes, all these things. Humiliation doesn't even match like what I felt. My family was in the audience. Every friend I'd ever met was watching. And at the time, it was bigger than it is now. 11 million people were watching in that moment. And I knew it. They told me right before I walked out on stage. So it was such a massive platform, let alone what the YouTube videos were going to do. And I just was like, this clip is going to ruin my life. Knowing that this is live now. And I think my career's over because it was so bad. But I think the thing that's really cool about it in hindsight is I get told over and over again, like, they were so wrong about you. Like as if I was this like polished, sparkling diamond that was displayed in front of them and they didn't see it.
You were.
Well, you're so kind. But I was pretty rough around the edges is the truth. Like you actually listened to the clip, like they didn't have to be mean, but it wasn't fantastic. I was still finding my voice. I was still honing my craft. I just started dancing and playing, and I really wasn't like that great at that moment. It wasn't.
You're never gonna get me to agree, but continue. Okay.
So it's like in my mind, I'm like, I have like massively I've overcome that skill level. I have worked so hard on my craft. So not only was this moment literally God and the forces protecting me from the terrible contract that if I had made it much further, I would have been locked into. Because I remember when I was in that, like the contract was that thick that they sent. You better believe I didn't have a lawyer. I didn't even read the thing. Like it would have taken me days to read it. So, and also I was so hungry. I would have signed anything. It didn't matter what it said. I was like, sign. Right. Gave it to them. They like in hindsight now I know they would have owned everything I created.
Yeah.
And I'd signed it all because I wanted it so bad. And so thank heavens, if I'd made it much further, that contract would have gone into effect. So yes, I was very much protected, but also rejection is a chance for learning. And I remember that feeling of like, either this is the end or I'm going to like work really, really hard so no one ever says that to me again. And it's been very cool. I've now been invited back multiple times by America's Got Talent to perform as a guest, to perform as a mentor, to like, I performed at their something anniversary like last year. And it was just such a celebratory thing to get to go back and have these full circle moments where now I have earned my space on that stage. I have honed my craft. And it's not that I wasn't good enough. I just really wasn't there yet. Like you got to add that word anytime someone gives you critique that maybe you're like, grain of salt, maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but I need to work a little harder so that I earn my place if they invite me back or when I get to step on a big stage of that scale again. I will deserve to be there fully and I'm going to be good enough in my own life. Like I know I'm good enough to be there. Now it doesn't matter what anybody says.
Yes.
And I've really earned my place now in every stage I go to. And I'm so grateful that I didn't give up, that I took it as like, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to get better. And anyway, so America's Got Talent taught me a lot and the factors saved me from a lot.
Yeah. In what we do, we get used to no's and there's so much.
You have to.
Yeah. And there's so much pivoting that happens. And I remember seeing this thing of this guy that for 100 days, he forced himself to be rejected every day. Do you remember this?
No.
This guy? By the end of it, he was so confident because he understood that like people rejecting you, it has nothing to do with you. But in this lane of what you're describing, there's a lot you can take from it. What we were talking about with social media, I find that like some of my more, I don't know, like I'm only going to use this word because you used it, but like some of my more humiliating moments when I'm vulnerable about them online or like I poke fun at them.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's when people connect with me the most because I'm just being honest about like a really embarrassing moment or something that previously I would have hidden shame. And I think your time frame of being in this industry feels so similar to mine, where like I feel as though we both grew up in a very like perfection facing, like forward, especially as women. It was like you're not allowed to complain, you're not allowed to say anything negative. And now it feels so liberating that it's like it's about speaking out, and like the women that are doing really well are sort of saying brash things. They're saying if something hurt them and they're getting attention for that, you know?
Well, you know what's really interesting is I mentioned that I thought that clip from America's Got Talent was going to ruin my career. I was like, this will haunt me forever. But yet when I then kind of turned around and I like started writing my own music and was ready to promote my first tour and my first album, I remember the thing that everyone wanted to talk about was the underdog story. Like that's all any press was like, oh, she's interesting, maybe. And then they would see that angle, have her on, because they wanted, suddenly it was like, this was your magnet piece of like, oh my gosh, you were told no, you were humiliated, and look at you now. And so it turned from the most humiliating and like, oh, I hope I can hide it, to like, own your story. People gravitated to it because suddenly you feel like them and you make people feel like, and I still like when I speak to young high school students, like I love, like that's the most visible clip of like, this happens to all of us. Oh, look where you can go. Don't ever let one moment define you. Like, so it's something I'm actually very proud of. I'm very grateful that that clip lives on. And, you know, it's just funny how in the moment, sometimes like, don't ever think one moment is going to destroy you, because one, it won't. And secondly, it might just be like the best thing that ever happened to you. Oh, you never know.
Speaking of reality TV and television shows that are having huge success, huge moments.
Yeah.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Oh, yes.
Are you invested?
You know, I had to watch it. I had to, because I'm a Mormon girly.
Yes,
like, so
I know.
I'm like, what is this hype about?
Yes.
So yeah, like good for those ladies. Like they're thriving, and it's like so funny that I'm like, how did I have such a head start on being like literally the Mormon girl in entertainment? And it was always something that was kind of like uncool about me. And I'm like, how did I miss the boat of apparently it's super sexy?
I know, and you need to be on the show.
That's so funny.
I wanted to ask if you feel there's accuracy in what's being depicted.
You know, they're very like, they are not representing Mormon culture in any way, shape, or form. I'll say that
Really?
much. Not at all. Like,
really?
Not at the slightest. Like, it's very much like, I don't think these women are Mormon. I think they might have been Mormon once upon a time.
Yes,
maybe
that is
some
true.
Of them are. Sorry,
no, you're right.
To say
no, you're right. You're right.
I'm not saying you're not deserving of being more, but the picture they're painting, the lifestyle, that is not Mormon culture. They do throw in Mormon anecdotes of like, we don't drink coffee. And it's like, okay, those are like pieces I think that just are like the interesting catch of like, or when, you know, Whitney was like, sex toys are kind of like a, like, these are all things that, yes, those are baked into Mormon culture, these weird little isms.
Okay.
However, the lifestyle, that they are presenting, the way they dress, and again, no shade on it, but that is not Mormon culture.
Got it.
I do think it's kind of cool showing like a little bit more nuance in life. Like Mormon culture is very much you're this way or you're not. And I think that Mormonism, religion in general, can use a lot more like space for like show up as you want and call yourself if you want to call yourself Mormon and you act and dress and live this way, awesome.
Right.
Welcome to the party. If you want to come, like I love that aspect of it. But are they representing the actual culture of what most of Mormonism is? No. And but anyways, I think it's great to like kind of open the door a little bit wider.
Yeah, I feel like and I'm curious if you have this thought process too, but the one thing that I feel excited about with the show, and it's less to do with Mormonism, although it could be directly related, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's more to do with religion, but there is something that feels really empowering about seeing these heterosexual relationships where the woman is earning more, the woman is the forefront.
Yes.
And I feel like, and again, that's why I'm sort of like it's not specific to Mormonism, and like I'm not trying to be like a slander towards Mormonism, because I think in religion that is quite a common
I feel like
dynamic.
Just in Western culture.
In Western culture.
It's very common, but even more in religion, even more in Christianity, and very much so in Mormonism. The patriarch of the home. The man. He is, so patriarchy is such a thing in Mormonism. The man is the patriarch of the home. He has the priesthood. He is, so in many ways, this can be a beautiful thing. It can also sometimes, and this is not even a religious thing, it's like a home thing, but that culture can get abused in a little bit, seen as a power tool. And I've seen it happen in relationships of people I know. And it gets heightened by this thing of spirituality, and the patriarch of the home is now a religious thing that God has ordained. And so it can be very beautiful. It can be very abused. And so I will say, in watching the show, certain things were like a little bit, I hate to use the word, but like a little bit triggering, of like, this is hitting some ties of some things that are hard about Mormonism, and the way I was, because I think I'll always relate to Mormonism. I'm a much more nuanced spiritual person at this point in my life. And there are things that I don't agree with that are presented in some of the Mormon ways of being. And there's things that I'm like, I can't deny that that's my spiritual language. And I'm very grateful for the culture and the things that it taught me, and the person that my spiritual upbringing made me through Mormonism.
Right.
But watching the show, some of the things and some of the ways you can tell the men are uncomfortable with their wives being the breadwinner. I'm like, ooh, this goes into like almost every relationship I've ever had.
Yes.
And, but anyway, so I think the women are awesome. I think they are changing culture in a really cool way. Yeah. And what you said, I totally agree with.
Yeah. And so for little girls to see that, I'm kind of excited about.
I'm excited about it too.
I know.
And they're like also,
and for the little boys too, and to see it.
I think that is actually such a good point, because I feel like we put men a lot at fault for the way that they are right now, and the way that they aren't understanding this new like kind of movement of women being empowered. Right. And it's like, how could they? They were raised not seeing it the same way we were raised not seeing it. Right. And so they're trying to grapple with like, what is my place? I was always told I would be the breadwinner, and that I am the provider, and that I am the man of the house. Suddenly there's like the woman of the house. But they never saw it. So it's like they're trying to catch up. Yeah. We're empowered by it. They're terrified by it. So I do agree with you. Little boys to see it. Yeah. It's going to make the world a different place. Yeah.
I appreciate you talking about it, because it's also, as someone that isn't Mormon and didn't grow up that way, it's really interesting to hear your perspective on it, because I think generally the public doesn't have a lot of knowledge about Mormon culture. And so they're like, interesting, like this is how, how it is. How it is.
Like, yeah. Not at all, but
yeah. It is also true that like a lot of them have left the church. A lot of them haven't gone in years. Or a lot of like they do have a variety of different relationships to the religion.
Absolutely. And I'm not here to say whether they are or aren't
active. No.
But it just doesn't depict what the and it's funny. I actually had an interview, I guess, with the producers of the show about being, because they were going to they are doing a spinoff on OC, and then I saw them announce it, and I was like, I am so offended.
You need to do it.
That I wasn't picked.
Oh my God, Lindsey.
I was like, I'm actually Mormon.
Start the petition.
I'm starting the petition right now.
Oh my God.
Do I actually think I would have been great on reality TV in that capacity? Yes. I don't know, but I'm plenty weird enough that I think I would have been a great fit.
No, you would have been a great fit, because they need a variety of different people.
They could have followed me on tour.
Yes.
They could have followed me in writing. Anyways, everybody. Here's the funny thing. Everybody thinks they are so interesting.
You are, though.
Every best friend is like, we should have a podcast, right?
I know.
We've all had that thought.
Sure.
But anyways, I was pretty like shocked when I saw the announcement, because they interviewed me to be like, would you want to be a part of this? And I was like,
oh my God, Lindsey.
So the fact that you guys didn't pick me, deeply offended. I have been the poster child of Mormon woman in pop culture for over a decade. So I'm just going to say.
Right. I know.
Missed opportunity. Not for me, but for you.
Absolutely.
Also, I was like, that would have been kind of fun.
Yes. I could
have been more. I remember telling them, I'm like, I'm not a wife. And they're like, well, half our girls aren't wives. And I was like, okay, then sign me up. But they didn't.
I can't believe. Oh my God, that is the juiciest tea in the world.
A little bit of tea. Maybe next season. Hey, I'm open. I'm here.
Oh my gosh.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God. you're such an incredible songwriter.
Oh, thank you.
This is what I wanted to end with. And it's heavy, but I feel like very worthwhile.
Okay.
And your song Shatter Me is like one of my anthems.
Oh,
it
really?
Is. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you.
And I feel like a lot of people feel that way about that song because it is about walking with perfectionism. And I feel this with grief a lot too, where it's not really something you get over. It's something that you end up walking alongside of. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I wanted to know, like, what helped you when you were in that headspace, for anyone listening that is having any experiences, you know, whether past, present, future, but it really does feel like something you walk alongside in terms of eating disorders, in terms of like those body image issues. And so I was curious, what has been the most helpful?
You know, first of all, we share in common that we've both lost people that are dear to us. So we've talked about this before. And I think that you equate it so well that like anything in life, like whether it's grief or whether it's an eating disorder or mental like disorder of any kind, we all go through things that actually make us feel completely shattered and broken. Or even like when I was on America's Got Talent, I'm broken.
Right.
You know, and in the midst of it, I remember learning as I started to research, like I have an eating disorder. I have anorexia. What does this mean? And I remember reading and seeing multiple times that it's an incurable disease. And you will have it for the rest of your life. And like you're saying, grief, same thing. You will walk alongside it forever. And there's something it snapped in my brain when I read that, being like, so I'll be like this forever. And that's a terrifying thought. But then as I started to like heal and like go through the therapy and like really realize, okay, I don't have to live like this forever. We're going to have to manage this relationship forever that's in my own brain.
Yes.
Or in my own situation, like I've lost something or someone.
Right.
Or I've been humiliated. Like I will have to walk alongside these memories, these things forever. How do we do it with grace? And that's not uncommon. Everybody has their version of feeling absolutely shattered.
Yes.
And so for anyone that feels broken in any way, shape, or form, you will find beauty in the cracks eventually. You will find healing. And I, you know, in hindsight, I've written a song called Kintsugi.
Yes.
That is the Japanese art of taking broken things and putting them back together with gold filament. And I love that analogy because suddenly what could have been like from Target, a little pot that was like $7 if it's broken and then they piece it back together with kintsugi, with this gold filament, suddenly it is a one-of-a-kind piece of art. It's more valuable now. It's actually stronger than it ever was before because gold and this filament is connecting it. And now it's one of a kind. Right. And so when you go through things that are hard and things that make you feel broken, you are actually gaining empathy, you're gaining grace, you're gaining strength, you're gaining experience that makes you truly one of a kind. It makes you better. And I have to walk alongside my anorexic self, and she shows up in different times of my life, usually when I'm stressed or scared. And I understand her so well now. I'm able to like actually talk with her and have a dialogue and be like, we don't need to go back there. I will never go back there. That was so painful. And it was so soul crushing to be in a place where you controlled me. It's a control thing. You think you're controlling it. It's controlling you 100%. And it's like, I honor you. I understand you're trying to protect me, but I don't need you. And having this like relationship to now talk to my hurt self and be like, I have been put back together and I will never go back there. Thank you for trying to protect me. I also am such a big believer now with my relationship with anorexia. You cannot have a part of yourself that is trying to hide and be small and be itty bitty and be trapped and be okay with that and also live a life that's big. Like I was so convinced that like being small, like I could keep it over here in this little box and the rest of me could be big and be bold. You can't. You have to embrace that it is okay to show up big and bold and not hidden. If you're hiding a piece of yourself, or if you're making a piece of yourself small, how can you go in the world? Like I love Betty Who and I love her song Big. She's 6 foot something. She's a tall, big girl. And she has that song about don't be afraid to be big. And women are trained to be small and a lot of capacities. And you can't be small in one way and be big in another. And so I've learned to embrace that, like, I will never shrink myself, not only mentally, but physically again. I'm going to be proud of however my body wants to show up. And having that dialogue with myself when I do start to be tempted to shrink again. It's like, we don't go there. I love myself too much. I love you too much to allow us to go there again.
Yes. And I think it's so important with that reframe, because a lot of people feel defeated when they say like, oh no, like I was supposed to be over this. Like I was supposed to be over this chapter. And when they do meet that older self, that, you know, that previous self, they feel like, wow, I'm back to square one.
You're never back to square one.
Never back to square one. I think that's a really important reframe. I also had someone describe it to me. They were talking about grief, but it's interesting because I feel like there's so many similarities.
Totally.
They were describing it as waves, that it comes in waves, and those waves at certain periods of time might be really, really big, you know, and then you will come up for air, you know, and I think grace, what you were describing about having grace is really at the core of that, you know, and like, the grace is to yourself.
To yourself. I love that. Yeah, it's so interesting how hard we are on ourselves, because also you can see it as a sign of like strength when you feel this and you have this chance to get through it and be on the other side, and you can be like, I did that. I got through a wave again, and it's going to come back. And the more you can give yourself a like really big pat on the back for like experiencing this moment and surviving it and getting to the other side and being okay and knowing like we've been through this before. I know I'll be okay. And like it becomes this thing where like a wave will come and you get through it and you can be really proud of like the person you've become and the empathy you gain, and the fact that we can talk about this and share experience of like we haven't even been through like exactly the same thing, but we can share the emotion of it. And it's like we're better people for it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
You're amazing.
You really are. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Just love ya. Just love ya.
You too.
You're amazing. You really are. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, yay.